Hey, Eric Hunter here, and I got a question today, and it is dowsing with a pendulum more effective than using your fingers? And when this person said dowsing, what they actually meant was pendulum alchemy or pendulum healing. So I consider dowsing to be the asking of questions or the answering of questions with a pendulum. Whereas pendulum alchemy and pendulum healing are using the pendulum to cause magical changes to occur. So the question reframed is the pendulum more effective at causing magical change and a healing response than are your fingers if you do something called divine gesture? So let me explain a little bit just in case you're new to this. So the basics of pendulum alchemy and pendulum healing is that you have a pendulum, and if it's a high vibration pendulum, like this purple goddess one, you can just hold it over a person's body and it can stimulate a healing response. But more often you'll use it to send a command. So you'll take the pendulum and you'll send a command like send love to everyone watching this video. And the pendulum spins around. And then that message of send love to everyone watching this video, if it's in their highest good and the highest good of all concerned, it gets transited out into the world, and then it becomes more likely to happen. And it's taking a little while because there are a lot of you watching this. That's cool. All right, there we go. So that's the basic idea there, is that you're using the pendulum to stimulate a change. It could be for stimulating healing. It could be for stimulating behavioral shifts. It could be for stimulating a change in a situation to make it go one way or the other. So I teach people, people in my graduates, they teach people how to do this with a pendulum. If you are desperate, however, and cannot get hold of a pendulum, you can use what's called divine gesture or use your fingers. It's kind of like, they call it divine gesture because of those old pictures of Christ where he's like going like that. Anyway, it's not religious though, in our case. So what this means is divine gesture things. You just take your fingers and then you just spin your fingers like they're a pendulum. And you just do it intuitively. So I'll just show you another one. So raise the consciousness to everyone watching this video to the highest level possible for their health and well-being. And you just spin it until intuitively you feel like it's done, then you just stop. Now, this can be really handy. Like, let's say you're in some situation where you can't use your pendulum, like you're driving your car and all of a sudden there's like a crazy traffic situation that you want to resolve, or you're in a courtroom, or you're on the line in the grocery store, or someplace where you can't like access a pendulum. Or let's say you're in an emergency room of a hospital, you had to ride in the ambulance with someone, you didn't take your pendulum, or you don't want to take it out because you're afraid, think you're crazy, whatever. You can use your fingers. Now, there are disadvantages to it though. And I would say, if at all possible, make an attempt to actually use a real high vibration healing pendulum. Now I'm going to explain why. But if you are desperate, you can use your fingers and it will have an effect. So let me explain why it has an effect, and then let me explain the limitations, and then let me explain why you want to use a real pendulum. So the reason why it can have an effect is, number one, energy is based on shape, and your fingers are elongated like a pendulum, and they also have joints, kind of like a pendulum. So your fingers do have some shape energy to them. Now, pendulums are believed to interact with light in the environment, and your fingers definitely interact with light. You can see my fingers have color because they're reflecting light. Also, our cells release biophotons. The cells actually make light energy. So we do have some light coming out of our fingers, and your hands are one of the parts of the body that has a lot of biophotonic activity. So I've said in the past that pendulum alchemy and pendulum healing is partly just a process of getting a spinning action and then saying the words, and then the spin is the metaphysical part that empowers the words. That's where the magic is, the spinning. So you can do this pretty well with your fingers because they have shape energy, and it's just a mechanical thing of making a spin occur that you speak into, and it amplifies your intentions. Now, What is the disadvantage? There are several disadvantages. Number one, if you're doing a healing on someone with your fingers, you are sticking your fingers into their energy field, which is a bad thing. It can be extremely dangerous. So I recommend that unless it's an emergency, you do not make a habit of using your fingers for any kind of healing work. Use a high vibration pendulum instead, because look at this. I can close my hand chakra. I've got a nice string that insulates me from energy, and I can stick this pendulum into someone's energy field. And the pendulum is a piece of metal or a piece of wood. It's totally neutral. It's not going to get contaminated by the person's energy. So you can stick this in their energy field, stimulate a healing response, and you stay completely clean. You have energetic distance. And this differs from other healing methods where you're sticking your hand in there and all of a sudden you've got all this dirty energy on you that can make you really sick and not feel well. So that is number one there. So along those lines, when you do use your fingers, only use it for sending out things like love, raising consciousness, harmonizing relationships. Those are probably the three things, or sending something like blue-green energy. Sending is okay. And if you only stick to those things, you're perfectly safe. You can send love with your fingers, send, blue-green energy, the healing energy, raise someone's consciousness, harmonize their relationships, witness it all working out for the highest good of all concerned. Sending and witnessing, that's okay. Neutralizing, bad. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or removing or anything like that, or just don't do it. So just stick to sending and only stick to, or witnessing, witnessing healing, witnessing the right outcome. And just do it on very neutral type things like that. Like don't neutralize cancer on somebody. That would not be a good thing to be doing, or going in and working on someone's sickness or illness or whatever it is. Don't do that with your fingers. Use a pendulum. Do it same time, do use pendulum. But like I said, if someone's in the hospital or they're in an ambulance, you could be like, send blue-green energy, raise their consciousness, send them love, send love to all the medical staff helping them out, etc. Use your fingers to do those kinds of things. You could be in the courtroom, just have your fingers down below where no one can see them under your chair. You can just whisper like, raise everyone's consciousness as little possible. You could just do it with barely, I have to move my lips, you can hear me on video, but you can talk under your breath so no one can hear you. You can be like, send love to the judge, send love to the opposing counsel. I witness this working out for the highest good of everyone. Send blue-green energy that's working out for the highest good of all concerned. I witness a speedy resolution. Those things are all fine. You can do that with your fingers. That's okay. That's not, but if you get involved in anything that's kind of could be messy energetically, like anything involving like, spirits, like demonic spirits or something, or black magic or nasty diseases, or really toxic, look, I'm coughing, even talking about it, really toxic stuff, use a pendulum so you are protected and you have distance, because you do not want to be sticking your hands in that stuff. And finally, I kind of alluded to this before, the pendulum has very good energy if you get a good one. So these are intentionally designed to be very, very high vibration objects that have, they can stimulate a response in the energy field of a person or a situation or a being due to their shape, due to the materials they're made out of. And these are all been tested. They're designs that we know work. So using the pendulum gives you a much better response than just using your fingers. Yeah, your fingers have an effect, and if that might be enough in some cases, but if you can increase the chances of success by using a high vibration object that will, really amp it up. It's like, you could go to the dollar store and buy a hammer to do a project, and the hammer, it might be okay, but if you're a professional carpenter or whatever, you want a real hammer that you buy at a hardware store that costs some money, because you're going to be using it regularly. You need something that actually does the job, doesn't become loose or get weird or anything like that. So it's kind of roughly similar. If you're doing this regularly, if you're doing really intense stuff, serious stuff, you want to have a real tool. You don't want to be just winging it using your fingers. But like I said, the fingers can be extremely important, especially in certain circumstances. Just make sure you only send things and only do it for things like sending love, sending consciousness, raising vibration, witnessing, healing, things of that nature that are very, very generic, very vanilla, very plain, very safe. Anyway, I hope this video is useful. Please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel so you can see more of these videos. If you're new to pendulum alchemy or pendulum healing, please check out my website. I have free courses that will teach you within a matter of minutes how to be changing your reality for ways that are in your highest good and the highest good of all concerned, ready to be fantastically surprised by the kinds of things that you can do. It's unbelievable. It's like having a magic wand or something. You can start making your life better, helping others, doing all kinds of amazing, miraculous things that most people don't even know are possible. And you can do it while making the world a better place and also helping yourself in making your life better. So please check it out, pendulumalchemy.com. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you have a great day. Bye.